once more for the road. And even if I have to put that song in, even if I have to put that extra thing in the description in order to run all that. What is up, everybody? This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, 320 at the Geekhouse. We did not have overtime tonight. Matter of fact, there was a lot of bad stuff that happened. It was a very, very long night, and I think it's the first of many over the next couple of weeks. We're gathered here tonight to, where do we even start with this? There's a lot of things I could be talking about, but we're not going to talk about them. There's a lot of things that people perhaps have been looking forward to with the channel that I haven't gotten around to yet. You will have plenty of opportunities to look forward to it, because as happened in 2012, 2023 has become a year where everything is thrown into a tizzy. The year barely has a chance to get started when everything has been absolutely thrown into a tizzy. I was already planning on changing some stuff this year with regards to my involvement on YouTube and everything else, as well as other things too, like focusing on jobs in the offline world. And then I come in to this. So before we get started with everything that's been going on and the bazillions of updates, this discussion will not have a clickable program guide. Let's do, as one manager I used to work for would say, the CNN headline version. So if this is not the end of Late Night Nerd Lounge, it is where I announce that this is all going to come to an end, because I may not be able to do these things in the late night anymore. Matter of fact, I might be losing this entire setup. All of it. Yeah, no Band-Aid tonight, but the good news is the bruise is healing. It's kind of turning into a little Pac-Man and stuff. Found out what caused it, by the way, as I predicted, forklifty stuff. I probably jammed it into something a little too hard and whatnot, and, I'm squishier than the metal, so that's where it came from. I accidentally did it a couple more times tonight. I was like, ow! Oh, so that's how I bruised my arm. Yeah, either way. 10,000 pounds of industrial heavy metal will do that to you. Always be careful around heavy equipment, even when it's not moving, because it has the inertia, and you don't. You don't. Okay. There's really no easy way to have this kind of a conversation. So we'll start with what's probably the happiest part of it that will probably become the thumbnail for the chat stream.
Roger, 10-4. Truckers are rolling this morning.
Thank you to Rebecca MC for the YouTube sub. Of course, I already subbed to her as well. She's the commentator who talks about small YouTubing and streaming and things along those lines. And she's a rarity in the world of multimedia meta commentary. She's another person who will have a hard time not falling into the trap of YouTube good, Twitch bad. So it's just too bad that she had to join the fold, so to speak, with all this crap that's going on that we're about to talk about. So, hey, it'd be nice if I wasn't the only one in the world who had the worst of timing. All right, where do we even start with all of this? I've got stuff to talk about. There's certainly multimedia meta stuff we could be talking about, but heck with it all. Heck with it all. This is more important, because things are about to get really dicey and really scrambled around here. So let's stop beating around the bush and grab the hedge clippers and start pruning it instead, or whatever. Trim the topiaries or whatever and whatnot. Yeah, nice that the bruise is healing. I was hoping I would see some signs of some whatever this week. All right. There's no easy way to say this. Something that I thought would happen with the 9-to-5ers for the longest time finally happened. And people called me a tinfoil head and paranoid and he has an anxiety problem and all kinds of other crap. But night shift is getting eliminated in about a month's, in about 2 months time? By late February, night shift is getting eliminated. Now, we were told tonight, I don't know if that's the 60-day notice under the Federal WARN Act. I don't know if I got to check when the go-live date is for that, or when night shift's last night is. But the 9-to-5ers are eliminating night shift. Now, I'm looking at the Federal WARN Act and the state of Connecticut's monthly WARN Act things. They're definitely big enough that they would have to report this. But I think because of some things they're trying to pull, where they basically ran skeleton crews on day shifts, so the night shift people, if they want, can transfer to days and not get laid off at all. There's I don't know if that affects the reporting requirements or something, but I think it's one of those things where, try and make it look like people are voluntarily resigning or whatever, and just give them severance or something. So I got the paperwork from HR today. We have inventory coming up in a couple of weeks, and then that's going to go well. And then we have a couple of weeks later is when the shift concludes, and after that, I have the option, if I want to stay with these folks, of going to day shift. So why don't we try and go through this one opportunity at a time here, because I don't necessarily have to leave the company, but we're talking about a contraction situation here. I've already seen this happen with other buildings where they went down to just one shift and then fought for a few more years, and then the building was closed. So look, we're talking about a company that has been struggling for years. Over the last couple of years, they've gotten to the point where, especially on this night shift, they had trouble staffing it up. And there was so much VTO. For those of you who don't speak warehousese, it's voluntary time off. There was so much VTO that it was rare to actually have there was way too much VTO. It got to the point where people were being attracted who wanted like half-time hours and stuff like that. So I was one of the few people that actually didn't mind working full time, but I was constantly bumping into the people who just wanted the easy job, and it was turning into a culture clash. Well, now the fun is over. Consolidating the shifts onto just one day shift from 7 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon is basically probably going to eliminate most of the VTO, if not make things harder for whoever's left. I'm just imagining how my job's going to go on day shift with the palletizer machine. It's probably going to be faster. There's probably going to be more orders releasing more quickly because you have a larger group of people. And what used to be done over 2 shifts is getting compressed into one with about double the work with about 1.5 times the people if people don't just take severance and leave. The severance is the wild card for me because I've been with these folks for just shy of a decade, so I'd qualify for 9 years of seniority. The severance is you basically get a free paycheck for every week that you worked, for every year that you worked with these folks. So in my case, we're talking about the shift shutting down in late February, which would mean, and the fun part is that severance only affects unemployment. It doesn't render it, moot. So could theoretically be laid off and collect unemployment, some amount on top of the severance. That's how it worked during the 2012 layoffs, and I was very surprised that I got both severance and unemployment at the same time while I was laid off. It's a different world, though. It's not the Great Recession anymore. It's the Great Resignation. And I can tell you that the local warehouse scene around here, because there's not much else out here in these woods, is so hard up for people that actually have work ethics and don't mind doing dull, mundane warehouse work that the competitors in the area are hiring around $20 an hour. In bigger companies where there's more going on. They're hiring around $20 an hour, and they're always looking for people, usually for a third shift or something that would have me going in for 11 o'clock at night and coming home after sunrise. So we're going to go through all of the possibilities as to what it's going to do here. But the thing is, the only way that I keep doing what I'm doing with this and have a name like Late Night Nerd Lounge, or even I know Logan loves that song, but the only way that song makes any sense is if I stay on the second shift schedule that I'm on. And that would require leaving the building or leaving the company and seeing if I can find something similar for working early nights, but not late nights. Although I am routinely up until sunrise, so third shift would not be much of an adjustment. I just have to figure out how medical appointments would work and stuff like that. So we got all that other stuff going on. So we have to figure out how medical appointments would work and stuff. I think we'll be talking about me going to like super early appointments after work and then going home and, I have the blackout curtains in my room for night shift. So if I go third shift, then I just use the blackout curtains to sleep in the afternoon. So, sleep in the afternoon into the evening. I mean, I don't really do anything as far as evening events goes anyways, but if I wanted to go third shift, but we got to go through all the options. So yeah. All right. There's so many ways I can go over the options too. By the way, chat is full open, so even people who aren't subbed can tune in, can say a few things if they want, or insult me. I don't know. I don't care. I got way bigger things to worry about than some hater's opinion on the internet. But the Stream Elements robot showed up, though. It's gotta be sad, though, because a lot of the streamers that I've liked over the years, they stream, they actually stream around this time. I know Tyranny and Vandalia. Oh, Tyranny streams earlier. I might be able to catch the beginning of her stream and then go to bed. But it's kind of suck, you know? Tyranny and Vandalia, two ESO streamers. I'm probably going to miss them both at this point. You know, chill streaming, PvE, stuff like that late at night. I know Deltia does stuff during the day, but I don't know how this is going to affect things too much. Just I kind of gotten used to where I'm at right now, being a nocturnal creature who goes to sleep at sunrise. This has been fun. It has. And it's just going to be hard to say goodbye to it all. It's going to be hard to say goodbye to what is probably the best environment for streaming and also the best environment for recording YouTube videos. Because during the day, we can have noise in the neighborhood. We can have cars, the whole 9 yards, things like that. But with this schedule, I could come home from work and have everything nice and quiet to do videos and have them come out really well, not have to use noise stuff, things like that. But the thing is, I've done tech videos before as a day shift person. The day shift that I would be going to if I stay with these 9-to-5ers, the day shift that I'd be going to is my old schedule from when I did that analytics data analysis database job, WMS type stuff for one of the other buildings that these folks have. So I was 7 to 3 on that schedule. There's times when if I sleep weird and stuff like that, I feel like I have energy at like 9 in the morning or something like that. So, but I usually try to go back to sleep to get more sleep for the night shift schedule and not to break the schedule. Stuff along those lines. So yeah, the night shift is getting eliminated, but the problem is that this company is a dog with fleas. I could go to days and work with some familiar people a little longer, but I especially with 9 weeks of severance, assuming I'm calculating this out correctly, maximum is 10. So, you know, you're talking like 2 months and change. You're talking like 2 months and change of free paychecks. And if I can get a job at one of these places that's hiring right now, and I was looking around, some places that are hiring all the time are still hiring. I'm going to make some phone calls, see where they're at. I might actually, if I could get hired somewhere after night shift concludes, and I just get used to, or maybe take a week off or something to change my sleep schedule, you're talking about several weeks where I'd get double paychecks and actually make some serious money off of getting laid off. So, because that's what this is. That's what this is. You know, if I don't decide to go to day shift, it's a layoff. And quite frankly, I saw this coming. Late last year, there was this sudden push to smooth out the orders processed by the building as much as humanly possible. And I was like, you know, the folks in charge have never cared about this, ever. They've always been super flexible and move things around easily. They've never been this obsessed with smoothing out the workload this much. I was like, there's only one reason why they would do that. There's only one reason why they would do that. Because they're going to lay people off. Like, if you're trying to come up with a staffing model to cut positions and stuff like that, that's exactly what I would expect. Whoa, the heat's clanking. The heater's clanking. Son of Clunky is acting up. Either way. So, if you wanted to eliminate people's jobs, that's exactly what you would do. If you want to come up with a labor model and what can we do in amount of time, then of course they want to smooth the heck out of everything and see how it goes, and then be able to plan things out with the stable set of stuff that's going on there. But yeah, the biggest wild card and the biggest reason why I'm thinking of leaving these folks, besides of course the declining state of the company and what am I really achieving by hanging out with these folks a few more years with their complete lack of career opportunities. Matter of fact, most of the impression I get from the current management is that they're playing essentially a reality show with each other. They're basically playing a reality show with each other. There's two kinds of people at this place. People that'll never get to have a career and people that have careers that are doing everything they can to pad their own career out as long as humanly possible and see how long they can ride the horse till it drops. So, and there's nobody in the middle. You're one or the other. So there's no opportunities, no ability to do anything. The most you'll do is lateral moves and learn how the entire building works, and then get cross-trained everywhere and do stuff everywhere. But they're hostile even to doing that, because they have these gotcha traps where you learn new stuff, but you better, be good at it, or else you get warnings like anywhere else. There is no like learning something, cross-training into something to learn it and then going over and doing the job for real if you bid over to it. But I think fundamentally everything is flawed with these people. If we didn't have the managers in charge who've been there forever that we currently do, I think they would have gone with a different solution. And I don't really see things getting much better, because you're talking about just shy of doubling the workload with maybe like 1.5 times the people. And it's probably going to be lower than that when you factor out the people taking severance, because if you've been there 10 years, you can get 10 paychecks for free, basically. And since it's not the Great Recession, it's the Great Resignation, with perhaps a little bit of a downturn later this year, unless, of course, Republicans crash the economy via the debt ceiling. With everything that's going on right now, it's not the Great Recession anymore. It probably, if you make the right phone calls and get in the right places, could probably very easily make the switch and get double paychecks at your new job. So I just got to figure out how the benefits is going to work and everything in order to figure all of this out. So I think the best way that we can go over this to the lurkers that stop by and then the people that watch after the fact, I think the best way we can go over this is to look at we'll start with staying there versus not staying there. And then we'll talk about the 3 shifts and what they would do to this channel. I think that would be the best form of progression here. So if I stay with these folks, the only shift left is day shift, 7 to 3. So it's my old schedule. Now, I did manage to do tech videos. Particularly on the weekends when I would stay up a little later, because I hate going to bed early, because it reminds me of when I was a little kid. One of the reasons I gravitated towards night shift in the first place. Plus, I've spent the bulk of my life, including college, and I've spent, I don't want to say the bulk, but many years as someone who does what I do right now. I did this in college. This has been like a college renaissance for me, working early nights to the wee hours of the morning, and then coming home and staying up until sunrise, and then getting up around noon or in the afternoon or something like that, needing an alarm clock to get up while it's still AM. So this has been pretty fun. This has all been pretty fun, and there's actually some, of course, night owl streamers that I've liked and stuff like that. And that's one of the things that sucks about streaming, is tying it to time slots and stuff like that. You lose fans when they have to change jobs or they have to go to another shift or something. Oh, another reason why videos ultimately are going to win over live streaming, and probably short form above both in the very near term. So if I stay with these folks, the only real benefit from that is to keep the health insurance that I currently have, which has been pretty decent, versus, buy from the Connecticut marketplace for however many months until I, get my benefits. So until I get the benefits at a new job and stuff, I'll have to ask and see when benefits kick in and then factor that into the decision. Plus, if I get hired somewhere else, even if it's one of those $20 an hour jobs, I'm not really losing too much. Now, we see here. I think, because what I'd be losing is the differential. What I'd be losing is the differential. And the big thing with this company specifically is they're not competitive anymore. They hire for lower. You spend years getting up to where harder, bigger, heftier places will start you at. Places that start you have things like bonuses and other cool stuff too, because they're trying to attract talent for these dull warehouse jobs that nobody wants to do and stuff like that, because they're not glamorous at all. It's like the definition of good old-fashioned hard work, which apparently younger generations are kind of allergic to in today's day and age. So, we have all of that going on here. And, so But if I stay, things probably even with it would basically counteract what the year's increase would be. So I'd end up with similar amounts of money, similar money, probably hours that don't get too ridiculous, and I would just get used to. There's a couple of jobs I could go to that I could basically do in my sleep at this point, whether it's shipping or picking orders or something, or stuff that involves some basic fork trucks. I could easily stay working for these people and just become a daytime person again. So, of course, the effects of that would be I'd go to first shift, which would mean I'd be getting up at the crack of dawn or even before that, going to work while it was dark out, coming home in the afternoon. There's more traffic in the afternoon, I know that. Coming home in the afternoon when there's more traffic. And then the other part of this is that if I did stream at all, it would be during like primetime hours, like 5, 6, 7 o'clock at night. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some people, that saw me go to nights a couple of years ago and they've missed me being able to be live because I'm on this night shift schedule and they're not. And maybe they liked my tech videos that used to be filmed during the day and stuff. The other huge part of it, too, is I'd have weekends again. I'd be Monday through Friday instead of Sunday through Thursday. So could get involved in a church again, go to some services as COVID's, if COVID retreated for something, have more of a life outside of working, sleeping, and YouTubing for a change. So that's probably the biggest draw to day shift, is not just coming home to the Geekhouse and doing whatever because everyone else is asleep. So it's the sort of thing that it's actually quite compelling when I think about it, especially when I can probably just get into any one of there's 3 different positions I could go to. Only one of them would keep me at the current pay that I'm at right now, though. So the others would definitely be a pay cut. So I got to figure that part out. The others would be a pay cut. So I don't know at this point, though, especially when I can get hired somewhere and start at they keep raising wages too to get more competitive. The big places around here have been really strong-arming each other in the fight for talent. So not only would the pay be higher, but there'd be more hours too. But there would be more hours too, especially during peak season. So, I mean, I already do up to 10 hours a day. I think the place I'm looking at does up to 12. So I haven't done 12s in a very long time. So, yeah, slog it out and just sleep. That's how I did it last time. But, figure that part out. So yeah, staying with these folks, that's that side of it. And then there's leaving. Leaving has a lot of opportunities. Leaving, you're talking not even factoring in unemployment and doing taxes and stuff like that. We're talking, of course, the benefits I'd have to go to. The benefits would suck, but the benefits would suck going through the state instead of through an employer. And I have to see when I could get actual insurance, real decent insurance again. But the other thing that's going on, well, yeah, but at the same time, if I get in somewhere and get a job somewhere, you're talking weeks with double paychecks. I'm seriously wondering if I should just take the money. And furthermore, even with these folks, if I go back within like 6 months or so, I'd be reinstated instead of rehired. So if things went nuts in the summertime and I went back as one of their summer help and stuff and got back in that way, then I had severance and go back to these folks. But I don't really want, if I can, I'd like to go somewhere where there's more career opportunities and there's more stuff going on, because it's no fun working in a place that is broke, busted, and disgusted like these folks are. It's no fun working somewhere where you're basically guaranteed to never have a career, while your boss is doing everything they can to pad out their career as long as humanly possible. So it's stupid. It's like, I think I'd rather be somewhere where there's more of a variety of experiences and opinions and points of view, as opposed to, we've been here forever, don't rock the boat. It's like, yeah, well, look where it's gotten you. I don't think it's going to be easier on day shift. I don't think the scaling with staffing is going to add up for these folks, because the people, first of all, the people that haven't been here very long, they could take the severance, but it'd be like a check or something. It might be better for them just to find another job, because they only got like 1 or 2 checks grand total from the severance package if they take it. They're more likely to quit. Plus, in the near term, we're probably talking about people calling off more than usual because they're going to leave. So they'll burn all their sick time. They'll burn all the PTO they have because it's not paid out when you leave the company. So at the very least, we're going to have call-out palooza. So there's probably going to be more hours during what is probably the deadest part of the year because of people doing this. That's one of the reasons why I'm having this stream tonight, in case we're just all tired, in case I'm all tired the rest of the time, because people, lame duck employees who don't have a real good carrot on a stick, like a hefty severance package, they don't really have any real loyalty here, especially when they'd rather just find another job. But the other thing too is, if you get laid off due to position elimination, it is considered a layoff. You're eligible for unemployment. So they would just have, based on years of service, some boosts, some little paychecky things, and then they just go on unemployment and stuff. And it's not like the Great Recession or anything. There's places hiring all over the place, so probably wouldn't be too much. Probably would just be a little bit of an inconvenience, or a real stinger to get hired somewhere else and get another job. I don't really think that's too wild of a thing. But anyways, yeah. So that's basically it. That's kind of the pros and cons for staying with these folks versus leaving these folks. Even if I stay with these folks, though, I'm going to keep an eye on the places I'm thinking of going to, because I learned the lesson from my dad, who stayed at a declining company way too long, then got laid off when the place closed as the Great Recession began, and he wound up in a terrible job he'd already quit once before, begging them to take him back. They treated him like garbage until he retired. And nobody would hire him because of age discrimination and crap like that. So he was basically stuck in a terrible job for the last chunk of his career. That's not going to be me. Let's be blunt about that. That's not going to be me. So I think the big issue here is, if I take the money, it's 9 paychecks. It's 9 paychecks spread over 2 months. A nice little reward. So I would call it a reward, even if I went somewhere else and started working again. Of course, I know some people that would just sit on their ass the whole time until the money ran out. But no, go for unemployment, get that, and then start job hunting. Then there's similar places hiring around here, and I've already met some of those folks last year. So it probably wouldn't be too hard for me to get in somewhere after the shift concludes and get double paychecks for a couple of weeks. That would be real cool. That would be real cool. So more than unemployment, that's for sure. So lastly, let's talk about the 3 shifts. Let's talk about how all that would work with this channel. Probably what people are most interested in, especially if they give a darn about my chat streams, the few that do. So I already said I was going to go back to making videos more this year. That's because videos fundamentally have strengths over streams. Also want to get into some more short form and make it interesting to people that are subbed on this channel, try and bridge the gap versus with videos and stuff like that. So, but I got a couple ideas for those. But as it stands right now, I think I have been streaming too much over the past 2 years. The chat streams are so easy to do, and it's like having a radio show, essentially, coming on here and talking about whatever's going on that day. So here's how this would all pan out. So day shift, especially with day shift, especially with if I stay where I'm at, which is not likely at this point, not with 9 weeks of severance that I could take. And of course, the thing is, if I don't leave with this wave, then will I get something like this ever again? The most I can get from these folks is up to 10 weeks. So it wouldn't be worth it to stay past a year with these people. So especially when other places are hiring at $20 an hour right off the bat. So instead of spending a year or two getting up to 20, you start at 20. Just work in a bigger place with more stuff going on. So there's all these things going on here. So day shift would have me coming home mid-afternoon and staying up until probably the middle of the evening. If staying up late would be like 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock would be staying up late for me. So that would eliminate Vindalia, who usually streams after midnight my time. Wouldn't be able to ever see her stream anymore, and to be quite frank, I'd probably miss seeing her stream. So, that would suck. But she's like my most supported streamer of all time, but she's a total night owl. But anyways, streams, if I do any, first of all, I need to come up with a new name. Late Night Nerd Lounge isn't going to work when I'm streaming at 7 o'clock at night or something. I'm streaming till 9 o'clock at night and then going to sleep or whatever, because I'm following my high school schedule, because that's basically what I'd be going back to, is I go from college back to high school. High school was 7 to 2, so just kind of rounded over to like 7 to 3. So, but yeah, So first shift would have me doing stuff during the day, probably doing most of the videos on the weekend. And we probably have to deal with things like noise and stuff. It really depends on who does what when. But the noise thing is becoming more and more irrelevant because we've got night shift workers in these neighborhoods that'll be driving cars into the night. I think as long as they're not, blasting music or something at like 1 a.m, I think that, yeah, as long as they're not blasting music at 1 a.m. or something, I don't think the police are going to do too much about them because they're just going to work like anybody else. So the noise thing has been kind of creeping into my nighttime hours, which is one of the things that's been getting in the way of me making videos. So plus we have some night shift people who will start their cars at like 12, 1, and 2, 3 in the morning anyway. So yeah, we have that to consider. Anyways, so we have all that. Now, second shift, the only way I stay on a schedule similar to what I'm at right now is to go back to the building I left if that doesn't eliminate the severance. So I could change buildings and go somewhere that still has a second shift, but I don't think I can get the severance if I do that. Or get a similar job somewhere else. That is unlikely at this point. That's the only way that I could maintain the schedule I have right now. I might have to bump it back a few hours or push it forward a few hours because the evening shifts vary around here. But it's very unlikely because these shifts are becoming very unpopular around here. It's one of the reasons I stayed where I was at. So I keep the YouTube options open for things like streaming early in the evening on the weekends with noise blockers and then recording YouTube videos in the middle of the night. Then we have third shift, where I'd be going into work in the middle of the night and working until sunrise. I could do that. That would change up all my appointments to now have to be early morning. But if I'm doing stuff after work, I become a morning guy here in the United States. So too early for people of the East Coast. As it'd be like 5 a.m. over in California if I came home and I did stuff and I went to bed around lunchtime. So I really don't understand how I would do it with third shift and without screwing up my sleep schedule. But it's probably one of the most popular shifts to have openings for around here is third shift because people with kids and stuff, they really can't do that. It doesn't really work out all that well. So third shift is very hard to staff up, but there's jobs if that's where you need to go. So I don't know at this point. But then there's some things like going into work at 9 at night instead of 11 at night and working until sunrise. So I'd be coming home at the time all the day shift people are getting their coffee. So yeah, streaming would be an early morning thing. In that case, I would actually get to the point where evening hours would be sleep hours. So, and on my days off, if I'm used to going into work late at night, I could, still watch the late night streamers and stuff like that. But it's a real toss-up at this point. But I think the biggest wild card with all of this is just having 9 weeks of severance available. 9 paychecks to get out of a company that's been having problems for years. That's why these things keep happening. Layoffs, contractions, building closures, shifts being consolidated together. And I'm sure that the layoffs will probably continue happening. I don't know. I'm sure they'll keep happening year after year. January is like layoff month. I need to go somewhere that's not struggling if I ever want to get out of this crap, which will probably require me to be more tired and less willing to having less energy to do things when I get home. But hey, this channel's been a hobby all this time anyways. The only monetization I've really dealt with is passive monetization. Haven't really gone out of my way to really try and farm it and grow it, and I don't really want to because regular jobs usually have better insurance than what you can get on your own. Furthermore, people talk about there might be a recession coming up. In an economic downturn, what do you think that does to your donos, your memberships, your subscriptions on Twitch, etc.? People with Amazon Prime, things like that. If people don't have discretionary income, where are you going to make money as a streamer from? That's the issue. So if there is an economic downturn, I think there was one technically in 2020 when people were stuck home. We had a self-inflicted recession from that. But if there's an economic downturn, everything that I've been saying about 2023 is just going to be amplified all that much more. The turbulent content creators, everything. So To sum it up, I saw all this coming. There's no way. I said, there's no way corporate lets this go on forever. No way. It got so bad with the VTO that these people were attracting folks who wanted the short hours all the time. No. So the biggest wild card in terms of me not staying with these people, because I could very easily just go to day shift. Now, I'd be pretty decent at everything that they're offering here, but every position that I could go to, I'd probably be pretty decent at it. But it's 9 weeks of severance. That's quite a bit of money. There probably won't be a chance for me to get this kind of a payday ever again. And then, of course, it would actually give me some, not leverage, but it would give me some breathing room to not have to go from nights to days cold turkey. So, yeah, give me some breathing room to not have to go from night shift to day shift cold turkey. So, yeah, wow. Back in 2012, I was laid off, and it caused all kinds of problems for me that took years to resolve. Now, in this different environment, I'm actually thinking getting laid off might be the best option, because there's places hiring around here. What'll it do to this channel? Who knows? Will I even still be able to do this channel? Who knows? No idea on that one. But either way, it's not like what I'm doing right now is anything I'm all that happy with anyways. To have like a few lurkers here because I'm streaming in the middle of the night. This time of the night is better for videos than it is for streaming. Because even if we take into account, it's almost 4 in the morning here, so 3, 2, 1. If somebody is out on the West Coast, they have to be burning the midnight oil. So it's off-peak hours, the very definition of off-peak hours here. I don't know. I'm curious, too. I might actually make a community post about this. So the people that, I'm not watching the stream replay, the people that do that stuff, yeah, see if they would prefer if I did live streams in the evening on a more normal schedule. Use the noise blockers, block that, and maybe like work on videos on the weekend or something. Because I'm just going to miss not having alarm clocks every single day. I don't need to actually... I'm just going to miss, because I just can't do day shift unless I go to bed at like 7 o'clock at night. I'm always getting up with an alarm if I'm day shift. But on this shift, it's been fun setting the don't oversleep alarm to 2 in the afternoon. But I'm usually up before then without an alarm. I'm like, yeah, whatever, man, no alarms. So, yeah. That's where we're at. So this is the end of Late Night Nerd Lounge. I think there's going to be some other things going on, too. There's going to be some other things, too. But if I continue chat streaming at all, I need a new name for this stuff. Because I won't be late night anymore. And I'm not just going to put quotes in everything and stuff like that. But don't celebrate those of you that thought I would quit streaming, because I'm not quitting streaming. And don't think that I'm going to go do all videos like it's 2019 again, because that's not going to be the case either. If anything, getting used to a new job might mean I shut the channel completely down for a bit until I actually have some energy to do stuff again. Kind of like when I took some time off when I first went to night shift and I did Jay Emerges from the Darkness. So... yeah, so all you late night folks and whatnot, I might not be able to stay a night owl. We'll have to see how it all pans out. But really, 9 weeks of severance, 9 free paychecks, and if I get another job, it's double paychecks for those weeks. Who wouldn't spring for that? Especially when I know these folks. So, the shift concludes in late February. March, April, so around May or so, that's plenty of time to find another job. And if I find it early, there'll be overlap with everything. And even if there isn't, there can be overlap with unemployment as well. So the thing is, things heat up as the summer approaches. Places start hiring. Hours start going up. People start needing help, including these folks. If I really can't go anywhere else except this place until the building closes, whenever the heck that happens, and the building gets shut down, well, they know what I can do. I really think, though, it's a good time to see what else is going on around here. I'd really like to be somewhere where there's more going on, even if the job's harder, because that's what I'm more used to. This thing where I'm just dealing with these people that are just plain too used to VTOing all the time, and they don't have a work ethic because of it. Like, yeah, and it's going to be ugly, too. There's going to be people burning sick time, and the people that are angry because they can't get their full-time benefits from a half to three-quarter time job, they'll probably leave. We had a bunch of people leave tonight at lunchtime after the announcement. We had a bunch of people leave at lunchtime, so it was a total mess. We're probably going to get more hours even until the shift gets eliminated because of all the shenanigans that are going to happen now that you have lame duck folks here who, especially if they plan on leaving. You get a week of sick time in January, so just call off enough times, but not enough times that you need a doctor's note to come back to work. So take a day off from your days off. It's like, take a day off from your days off, burn your PTO, da-da-da. Then, oh yeah, I was here till the end, give me severance. So tempted to do that, but I think I'd rather be civil about it and talk to the manager about using up the time the real way. It's stuff like that. Oh yeah, so yeah, it's been fun. This late night nerd lounge thing has been fun, but as we've seen, it's gone in a direction that I never intended it to do. It's gone in a direction that I never intended.
Ride Jeep, 10-4. Truckers are rolling this morning.
Oh, what is this? We'll deal with that some other time. Why you would do that, pal, is beyond me. I'm not actually gonna say that, membership. I'll have a conversation with YouTube support about that. Wow. Well now. Congratulations on outing yourself. Well, that answers a question I've had for a very, 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 very long time. It's 4 a.m, U.S. East. Let me actually check this out here. You know, folks, remember when I said that in the 2010s I attracted a Schadenfreude audience? Remember in the 2010s when I attracted a Schadenfreude audience? Yep. There it is. Well, buddy, thanks to your nonsense, I now have a name and a face. I know who the culprit's been all this time. We'll figure that. Ah, that's cool. Thanks, Stream Elements, for outing the parasocial whack job that's been hating my streams all this time. I have a name and a face now. That eliminates that mystery. Now we can take things to the next level. Well, I guess I got some discussions to have then. Open up Picasa and get that screen captured. I had already narrowed it down. I had already narrowed it down, but that gives me a name and a face. Boom. Party's over. Well then. I guess I had other things to do as well. Phone calls to make, all kinds of other stuff. Yeah. Well, it looks like as I get established in the 2020s, I'll be dealing with an old problem from the 2010s as well. There's my answer to all of this. All right. This is the end of the Late Night Nerd Lounge. Been having some fun with this, but if I do chat streams or anything resembling radio sounding stuff, it needs to have a different name, because odds are I might have to go to third shift or day shift. Now, we'll deal with the other stuff. Let's see what happens and see how wacky things get in the interim. Till next time, this is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.